Damn phones, Babylons can't crack the code.
In every recruiting class, there seems to be something crazy that happens every year, whether it be flips, twists and turns in a person's recruitment, or just something straight up nobody can even predict. But if you keep up with college football recruiting, you know you just have to be prepared for these kind of things because college football recruiting is ever changing and people's minds constantly change, and there's always a bunch of twists and turns with certain players. It's just very hard to predict. But this is B. Kelly, back again with another banger video. And in today's video, y'all, I am going to be talking about 5 college football players' recruitments that went crazy. Now, before I move on with the video, this is opinionated. This isn't a top 5 list, but it is 5. If you want to see a part 2, comment something down below. But before I move on, remember to smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't already, as we are on the road to 10K. Now let's get into it. The first one I am going to be talking about in today's video involves running back from the class of 2020, 5-star, number 2 running back in the class, number 1 player from the state of Texas, number 16 in the nation, Zach Evans. As you might be able to conclude, Zach Evans being a 5-star, number 1 player from Texas, and the number 2 running back in the class, just behind Bijan Robinson, you can probably assume that, yeah, he had offers from pretty much everywhere in the country, and that he did, as he had a total of 44 scholarship offers. Now, let's talk about his recruiting story. Near the end of his junior year, he released a top 5 that included Alabama, Georgia, LSU, Ohio State, and Oklahoma. On June 7th, 2019, going into his senior year, an offensive tackle from North Shore, his teammate Damian George, would end up committing to Alabama. And leading up to that, it seemed like they were going to be a package deal. So at that point, it seemed like Zach Evans was going to be Alabama bound, but nothing would ever come of it. Then he would take a visit to Georgia, and it would seem like Georgia would start to look like the move for him. Near the end of September of his senior year, Zach Evans would put out a tweet saying, "I've decided," which made everyone think that a commitment was coming soon, but that was indeed false, as a commitment was not coming soon from Zach Evans, although many people thought it would. On December 1st, he would actually drop a finalist list that was narrowed to 4 schools. Those 4 schools were Alabama, Georgia, LSU, and Texas A&M. Zach Evans would be slated to have his commitment go live at the Under Armour All-American game, and it was seeming that way, as undercover he signed a letter of intent to play with Georgia and enroll early. But that would not be the case, as he did not actually air his commitment at the Under Armour All-American game, as it seemed like he would not have his decision made and he would not be able to go to Georgia, as in fact on January 7th, 2020, he would be released from his letter of intent from Georgia. In the following weeks after, Zach Evans would visit Ole Miss, Tennessee, and he was supposed to visit Florida for his last official visit, but the pandemic would get in the way, and he would never go on that last visit. And it would seem like all the rumors around him, people saying he's going to go to this school, he's going to go to that school, would go on even longer, as he would not make a commitment until May 11th, 2020, and it was with a school that was completely left field, not really involved in his recruitment at all. They were involved at one point, but they were never really involved like that, and that was TCU. The craziest thing with the Zach Evans recruitment was how many twists and turns ended up in the recruitment itself, and everything that just went on off the field with his high school team, involving him and his coaches in disciplinary actions, test scores, missing part of a playoff game to take the ACT so he can enroll early at a university for the spring, all of that, and him ending up at TCU, which was a school that he was never really connected to at all. Next up, I am going to be talking about Bru McCoy. Now, let me say this real quick. Bru McCoy's recruitment is nowhere on the level to Zach Evans at all. But in the 2019 recruiting class, Bru McCoy was a 5-star recruit, the number 9 player in the nation, the number 1 athlete, and the number 2 player out of the state of California, and of course, he held a lot of offers, as he held a total of 25 offers. Bru McCoy could be a two-way player. He wasn't going to play both ways in college, but he could play either side of the ball. He was really good at both ways. Bru McCoy, just like many other top players in the nation, would end up making his commitment live on the Under Armour All-American game, and he would end up committing to USC, the team that many people thought he was going to go to, as it was close to him and very local, and they hired offensive coordinator Cliff Kingsbury. But his time at USC would not be very long, as he was an early enrollee, but he would end up decommitting later that same January after he was already enrolled because, well, seemed like Cliff Kingsbury left, so he was going to leave as well. He would then end up going to Texas and enrolling at Texas, but he would not last very long at Texas, as he would enter the portal shortly thereafter and end up back at USC for his freshman season. In this next case, we have wide receiver from the class of 2021, a 4-star recruit, the 142nd best player, number 23 wide receiver, and number 22 player from the state of Texas, has a lot of upside, Quaidarius Davis. Davis was a highly coveted recruit in this class. He had a total of 22 offers from some of the top schools in the nation, as he honestly was a pretty underrated player with his rank, as he had size and he had all the intangibles to be a day one guy in a lot of people's programs. His recruitment is kind of interesting, as he would actually commit to SMU very early on, as he committed to be a part of SMU's program in 2018. Now you gotta take in fact that this guy was the class of 2021 and he committed to SMU in 2018. He would decommit a little later, as he decommitted on April 12th, 2019, and he started to get a lot of big-time offers, and he would eventually commit to pretty much one of the biggest blue bloods in college football, Texas. But he would end up decommitting from Texas just a few months later in November of 2019. He would get a couple more offers after his decommitment from Texas, but ultimately, in May 1st of 2020, he would end up committing to USC. Everything seemed fine. He seemed like he was about to be a USC Trojan, as he was a long-time commit throughout the 2020 season, and seemed like he was about to sign on early signing day. But just a few days before early signing day, Quaidarius would end up decommitting from USC. A few weeks after decommitting from USC, he would end up committing to a school nobody would have ever seen him committing to in the beginning of his recruitment process, when he really started picking up some big-time offers, and that school was Kansas. This was a big grab for Kansas, as he could be a day one guy on their offense and really change the outlook of their program with the way he plays football. He would sign with Kansas on National Signing Day, but he would not be a Jayhawk for very long, as due to off-the-field issues, on March 26th, Kansas would terminate their recruitment of Quaidarius Davis. Although things did look a little grim for Davis and where his next spot would be, he would find a new home in a few months, as his new home he's currently at is Jackson State, and he's expected to be a huge part of that offense in 2022. On to the next case, we have the newest one. From 2022 class, the number one player, the number one athlete, Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter was a long-time Florida State commit and a highly coveted player, as he could play either side of the ball and honestly be the best cornerback and the best wide receiver in this class. He could play anywhere in the country on either side of the ball. He's just that good. He's a once-in-a-generation player. And there was some smoke in his senior year of him possibly decommitting from Florida State and flipping to another team. And that team that they were talking about the entire time was Georgia. But Travis Hunter was adamant that he was not flipping from Florida State and that he was loyal. And it really seemed that way. 24 hours ahead of his signing on early signing day to Florida State, everything seemed fine. There was some very small talk about a possible decommitment and flip, and if it was going to be anywhere, it was Georgia. But literally an hour before he would sign, he has flipping to Jackson State for crystal balls, according to 24/7 Sports. And when he in fact did sign, he flipped his commitment from Florida State to go join Coach Sanders' aka primetime Deion Sanders at Jackson State. This was one of those commitments that nobody saw coming until literally an hour before he was going to commit. It was one of those. It was really shocking, and a lot of people straight up just couldn't believe it. But I really like this move. The final player I am going to be talking about in this crazy recruitment is Detraveon Brown from the class of 2020, a 3-star that ranked as the 1,045th best player and the 154th best player in his class out of the state of Louisiana. He held a total of 13 offers coming out of high school from schools such as Colorado State, Houston, Kansas, Kentucky, and Ole Miss, just to name a few. Now, the crazy part of his recruitment is he picked up an Ole Miss offer pretty late in his recruitment, literally less than a month before National Signing Day. This recruitment would take a turn, as he would actually sign to play for Ole Miss, but the thing is, he didn't really sign to play for Ole Miss, as he actually got his offer pulled. He had a verbal offer, but Ole Miss actually got another receiver a couple days before, which had a full wide receiver room, and Brown officially couldn't join Ole Miss. But he still signed, and everyone thought he was going to go to Ole Miss until the news kind of broke out that he wasn't able to go there, and there was no way that he could actually go there, as Ole Miss didn't have any papers for him, or any papers on him, or a scholarship spot available to him. Now, with all this drama, he would still end up signing to another team, as he would end up signing with North Texas. Well guys, if you made it this far in the video, drop something down in the comment section below if you want a part 2 of this video series. And before you head out, remember to smash that like button, turn on those post notifications, and subscribe for more videos. B. Kelly out.